Welcome to the Prince Magnum channel, where hot rodding and romance do coexist. I'm your host, Prince Magnum, and welcome to Do-It-Yourself Budget Hot Rodding. Today's episode of Do-It-Yourself Budget Hot Rodding, we have a problem, and it pertains to dear old Project Lena. Last night, as the making of this video, was coming home, back road, as dark as heck. No, it wasn't a deer, but of all the things, a dog runs out, and our current star of the show takes a little bit of a fender bender, basically connecting right in here at the front, and you can kind of see some of the damage here where we connected with the dog and busted out the fog light, did some damage to the condenser for the air conditioning unit, plus some of the lines, so that will have to be repaired. Along with that, headlight was kind of popped out a little bit. We were going to replace those anyways, but you can see the damage on the fender here. If I can get my camera person to kind of slide over just a little bit, you can get a good look at what happened right here. Now, along with that, underneath here is a plastic fender well. Why they went to plastic, I'll never fully understand. But it knocked out some of that fender, and of course, this is kind of not where it should be, which you can also, again, see some of the damage over here along with that. Thankfully, this is all replaceable, easy to fix, and here in just a moment, we're going to get underway working on some of this. Now, heads up, folks, when doing body work, you're probably not going to get it perfect, but the main objective is to get the worst of it out, and the purpose of what we're going to be doing is just trying to straighten the fender a little bit so it's at least cosmetically pleasing to the eye. As a matter of fact, initially the filming was supposed to be involving removing the fake paint that someone that we won't mention had put onto the hood of Project Lena, and which this is actually beginning to look like an eyesore. Which, again, folks, if you're going to do a custom project, please commit to it completely. Don't fake it, okay? Again, that is very, very important for all of us to remember. So here in just a moment, we're going to get the hood up, and we're going to start trying our best to straighten out the damage that was done up here. The rest of it will have to be done as time goes on. We'll figure it out from there. Alright folks, we've got the fender somewhat straightened out now, and it's not perfect, but the only way to really get it perfect is go ahead and to remove the fender, but we're not to that stage. Now, we've got it basically well enough that she can do shows. The next big steps is to begin looking for brand new replacement parts. Because this fender will no longer cut it. Along with the other fender, we're going to need new headlights, and obviously we're going to need other bits and bobs. Along with, because of the crack in the bumper, that's going to have to be replaced. But for right now, for doing shows, for what we're used to doing here on this channel, Lena is, for the most part, ready to go. Now the next step is to go ahead and remove this fake paint, as we talked about earlier in this video. The fact of the matter is that, well, let's face facts. Project Lena, you know, again, I know some people are okay with the peelable paint. I'm not. And I know I talked about earlier in the video about using fake paint. Look, folks, you got to understand, I'm one of those ones, if you're committed to a project, go all the way. Don't do something like this, because over time, this is flaking off, and this is now becoming an eyesore, okay? So, to me, that's not fully dedicating yourself to the project. And I know, I'm just reiterating what I talked about earlier in the video, but you all have to understand, if you have a vision for your project, go all the way, go all in, because I'm going to tell y'all right now, if you're not going to go in all the way in, I mean, that's kind of almost, that's not showing your project the respect that it deserves. And again, I know there's some folks that, you know, Project Lena, you know, a newer vehicle. No, people do this stuff all the time with project cars nowadays. And let's face facts, the vintage metal that we're used to, like with Project Spirit, that's getting harder and harder to come by. As a matter of fact, it's really hard to sometimes get those old parts, like for Project Spirit, to put her back on the road. So, having a more modern project like this is always, you know, it's a definite option for any hot rodder out there like myself. we've got the old peelable paint off of Lena, and as you can tell, as I'm knocking stuff over, not quite, that actually looks a lot better. Remember, the peelable paint was up there because the person who was in charge of the project was afraid to commit. And one of the next steps, well, I think y'all are going to be really, really surprised at what we're going to do to really make Lena pop. So, let's get to it. Alright folks, so you've seen now, as we've continued to kind of move Project Lena away from the project she once was here on the channel. And she's looking pretty sharp. Now I must confess, I did not do the pinstriping. I had to employ a very wonderful person to actually do the pinstriping because dear old Prince Magnum's hands shake way too much. And you guys can imagine the interesting designs that would end up we would end up if I did the pinstriping myself. And I've never really been that good with it. So for those of you out there who can do it, kudos to you. So Project Lena, though she's got a long ways to go to be super show worthy, we're in the ballpark, okay? And again, we've freshened up the look, and this is a look that is somewhat traditional to what I'm used to in the world of cars. In the world of custom cars, that is. And in some cases, the factory would have done something pretty much like you see right here. It would have been something along these lines. So, fresh new look. She's ready for show. And we're again moving away from what was envisioned with Princess Faye, which is exactly what we want. Okay? And I know for some of you out there, it's like, you really are taking Project Lena and bringing her back to what the channel is really all about. And that's just enjoying cars. And if you have a vision for a custom car, stick to it, okay? I know there's some of you out there that like the wraps and things like that, but I'm old school, and I'm old school for a reason. And that's the way we like to do things on here. I just bent in the wrong way, and I shouldn't have. So, let this be a lesson to all of us. If you have a vision, stick to it. Alrighty, so that does bring us to the usual stopping point for this particular video. As usual, get on over and check out the Patreon. Okay, the Patreon account that we have set up for the Prince Magnum channel. Become a member of the High Mileage Club for $1 a month. All proceeds go back into the project cars, which doesn't seem like a whole lot, but it is still something. Okay, anything where you guys can put back into it, by all means, please do. Along with that, be sure to check out the Teespring store. There's still some awesome merchandise over there, and all proceeds, again, go back into the project cars. You know, I know some folks, they would like maybe some merchandise to hold in their hands, you know, maybe coffee cup, maybe a t-shirt to wear, something like that. That's your grab right there. Trust me. As a matter of fact, I know wasn't that long ago, around the beginning of the making of this video, someone asked about a certain type of sweatpants, what we would call sweatpants, they know as jumpers, and was able to tell them, yeah, we've got that. So that was pretty awesome. So from here, I get to remind all of you, get out there and work on a project. I don't care what it is, just do something with yourselves. Remember, idle hands and a creative mind go together like oil and water. If you have a sweetheart, sweep them off their feet and do something special for them today. And as always, for every last one of you out there, No one out there has told you that they love you today. Prince Magnum does. God bless you, and have a happy 24. Thank you.
Sayer, 6.22 with an over 116 miles an hour. And right now, good time to go get a hot dog while we wait for Cam.